Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, May 8th, 2023. This is live stream 916. If this is your first time visiting and hanging out, let me point out, as you can tell already, super casual around here. We're just hanging out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, while also taking a first look at a tabletop game. How about that? And tonight, we are going to dive in and take a first look at the Lord of the Rings Roleplaying for 5e from Liberi Publishing. I know a lot of people are very excited about this. This is making its way into stores tomorrow. Yes. So we're going to dive on in. We are going to take a first look tonight. So as I mentioned, super casual. We're not engaged in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, having some fun. So if you're hanging out with me live and you're tuning in because you want to see that first look at the Lord of the Rings role-playing, let me point out, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first here on the show. So it's probably going to be about 35, maybe 40 minutes before we jump into that first look. So if you are hanging out live, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. It's Monday. It's probably been a hard Monday. You'll have fun. And if you're a subscriber to the channel, at least for more than 48 hours, you've got something to occupy your time as well. But of course, if you are tuning in 30 minutes or more after the show ends, there are timestamps. So you can jump past the tabletop gaming news of the day if you need to. And of course, those are located in the show notes, those timestamps. And depending on what device you happen to be watching this on, they might even be right there in the timeline of the video. So there is that. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the Gaming Gang channel. Lastly, because this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you do have to be a subscriber for the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. That's why I had mentioned if you're a subscriber watching live, you can occupy your time while you're waiting for that first look. But of course, that 48-hour thing, that's another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about the Lord of the Rings role-playing that you want a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So first out the gate tonight is Roger Prudhomme. So welcome, Roger. Kathy Evans is with us, the Motor City Madman. Yes, the Madman, one of our chat moderators, has chimed in, as has John Muscola, Coco B. Mark Dandy is here also. So that's who we've got hanging out in chat. We might have some lurkers as well. We usually do. Some of you know you are. Anyway, welcome. I know it's been weird. I had all last week off, no shows, but if you pay attention to the channel, you know I did have videos that came out. Actually, a big one yesterday. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit later. So welcome, everybody. Good to have you hanging out in chat. So let's dive on into that aforementioned tabletop gaming news, because arriving at the end of this month is Thunder Road Vendetta. I've got the skinny from Restoration Games. Chrome and Thunder. In 1986, Thunder Road unleashed carnage. Really? The Springsteen song? No, I think that was earlier than 86. Yes, Bruce Springsteen unleashes carnage. Jeez. Started to speak and inhale at the same time. It was like, blah. Today, we're bringing back this dusty, blood-spattered tribute to post-apocalyptic mayhem with a thorough redesign from David Chalker and Brett Myers, and a fresh coat of paint from artist Mary Bergeron. Run, gun, survive. The rest are details. Thunder Road Vendetta is a game of fast turns, high interaction, and dicey decisions. Your crew will drive through perilous roads, dodge hazards, slam into other cars, and fire those guns. Or when all else fails, call in the chopper. Thunder Road Vendetta is a revved-up restoration of the classic 1986 game of mayhem on the asphalt. Grab your crew, roll your dice, race your cars, shoot your guns, and try not to get wrecked. This new version features exciting new additions, including random hazard tokens such as wrecks, oil slicks, and more. Damage isn't merely one and done. Now you'll draw damage tokens with exciting effects that can send your car careening across the board. You'll also have more choices on your turn, assigning one of your dice to your command board to repair damage, nitro boost, or send out your attack copter to fire away. Thunder Road Vendetta is for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. Plays around 45 to 70 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $60 when it pulls into stores May 31st. I will admit, I have never heard of Thunder Road. No idea. I have no idea what Thunder Road was. I am taking a stab in the dark. It was Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley, something like that. But no idea. Although I will admit, Thunder Road Vendetta looks pretty interesting. I wish there were more images that I could share with you, but for some strange reason, Restoration Games has not put that many images out, not even on the Kickstarter that they ran to get this funded. So you're seeing the components, pretty much the only images available for them. Sarah D is lurking. Yes, good to see you, Sarah D. Nero's Fiddle and Zorak Zoran 1, as well as 245 Trioxin, are hanging with the gang tonight. Moving right along, the solitaire game Legacy of You, yes, you, is arriving in July from Renegade Game Studios and Garphill Studios. Here's the latest. Maybe it's Garphill Games. I'm trying to think. No, I think it is Garphill Studios. During the reign of Emperor Yao, the people of ancient China were constantly plagued by deadly floods along the Yellow River. Eager to put an end to the devastation, Yao selected Gun, one of his officials, to devise a plan. After 9 years of failed attempts using dams and dikes, Gun's employment came to a questionable end. After his passing, yeah, I'm sure that was an accident, You inherited his father's work. Learning from Gunn's failures, you set out to construct a series of canals to direct the surging river into nearby fields and smaller waterways. Legacy of You is a solo-only, fully resettable, non-linear campaign game in which you step into the role of the legendary hero of the Zhai dynasty, You the Great. It will be your job to build the canals ahead of the impending flood, while also defending your growing village against neighboring barbarian tribes. With each game, stories will be shared and new gameplay elements added. The campaign features a self-balancing system which adapts to how well you are doing. The campaign ends once you either win or lose 7 games. It features fast and tense gameplay with quick setup and teardown between sessions. There's worker placement, deck management, resource management, and action chaining for an exciting and dynamic experience. Captivating stories and moments to discover are available with each game as you progress through the campaign. Legacy of You is for, once again, one player. It's for ages 12 and up, plays in around 60 minutes. It'll carry an MSRP of $60 when it arrives in July. And I've got to say, I always like these Garphill Studio games that Renegade Game Studios releases. I haven't played all of them, I'll be the first to point out, but Raiders of the North Sea, excellent game. In fact, it is one of what I like to refer to as my trunk games or backseat games, because I have to keep it in the car so that if I, like, say, go over to my brother's and we're playing with my nephew, or I go over to my best friend Elliot's house, it's always like, hey, you got that Viking game? It's like, yeah, I got that Viking game. And I definitely love the artwork for this also. Very, very cool. So keep your eyes out for it. Legacy of You this summer. On to some role-playing game news. The Powered by the Apocalypse role-playing game, Fellowship, is featured in a new bundle of holding, or I guess it was new last week. I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer. We've resurrected our June 2020 Fellowship bundle featuring the Liberi Gothica Games tabletop fantasy role-playing game of heroism against world-shattering odds. Fellowship. In Fellowship, one player becomes the Overlord, bent on world destruction. The other player characters form a coalition of heroes who undertake a perilous journey to save the day. Adapting the simple and flexible Apocalypse Engine system, Fellowship lets you enact your own epic adventure a la the Lord of the Rings or Avatar: The Last Airbender. This bargain-priced revival once again presents the 2019 second edition of Fellowship, plus all 3 of its supplements, one newly added for this revival, along with many of Liberi Gothica's popular Dungeon World playbooks that are easily compatible with Fellowship. For just $9.95, you'll get all 3 titles in this revived offers starter collection, which has a retail value of $36, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete standalone Fellowship 2nd Edition Core Rulebook, Fellowship Book 2, Inverse Fellowship, and a set of Dungeon World alternative playbooks with the Mage, the Priest, the Templar, and the Artificer, all easily compatible with the Fellowship campaigns. If you pay more than the current threshold price of $18.95, you'll level up and also get this revival's entire bonus collection with 6 more supplements worth an additional $42, including Book 3, In Rebellion, the new Fellowship Book 4, Generous Fellowship, and 4 more Dungeon World playbooks, Cultist, Dashing Hero, Spellsword, and Witch. Should mention, if you purchase this original bundle in 2020, you're actually going to get Generous Fellowship absolutely free. It'll be linked into your DriveThruRPG account. When you buy a bundle of holding, you never worry about missing a title added later, even if it's much later. These savings do run through May 17th, and 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to Direct Relief. I have always heard, I think I better wet my whistle here. I have always heard that Fellowship is pretty cool. I heard it's a pretty nice, family friendly. I don't know if I want to use that term, but I guess more open to all ages as far as fantasy role playing games go. And I heard it models, say, Lord of the Rings very well. That is why it's called Fellowship. There you have it. So Flaming Huron is with us in chat. Let's see, has anyone else snuck on in? No, just Flaming Huron, who happens to be one of our chat moderators also. So we've got 3 of our chat moderators hanging out with us tonight. On to the next news piece. Now available from Mongoose Publishing is the latest supplement for the Traveler role-playing game in PDF. Here's what I know about The Trailing Frontier. The Trailing Frontier, a region of contradictions. At once a safe province and the future site of humanity's death struggle against the Kikri of the 2000 worlds. A backwater and a frontier. Half of the region lies within the Third Imperium. The other half is home to minor states and independent worlds. Beyond lies the territory of the Lords of Thunder, militant herbivores who have vowed to exterminate all meat eaters. Damn you, meat eaters! The Imperium considers the gateway sector to be of vast strategic importance, yet cannot spare the resources to tame it. Instead, a host of entrepreneurs and small ship owners cross the border in search of fortune and, perhaps, glory. Far from the strictures of imperial regulations, the Trailing Frontier is a place to play fast and loose, and to be ready to make a quick exit. It is a hunting ground for pirates and mercenaries, a golden opportunity for merchants and adventurers, and a graveyard for the unwary. The 264-page hardcover can currently be pre-ordered for an MSRP of $59.99, or you can grab the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $34.99. So I will mention that you may want to hold off on ordering the hardcover, because I had heard that this PDF has a lot of errors in it. So, I'm hoping Mongoose Publishing is going to pull a Cubicle 7 Entertainment and, release the PDF ahead of sending off the final files to the printer. Fingers crossed that they've done that, because they are saying that this hardcover is pre-order right now. But I guess some of the errors are like glaring errors. Disavow 92 and Darius Termina are in chat with us. I believe this might be a first-time visit for Indarius Termina. So welcome aboard. Make yourself at home. On to the final news piece. Edge Studio has released a role-playing game set in the world of the board game Twilight Imperium. So now Darius is going to think of Warhammer 40K again. I've got the scoop on Embers of, you guessed it, the Imperium. The fate of the galaxy rests in your hands. Since the fall of the Lazex Empire, oh, wait a second, I almost had Lazex surgery. And I thought, no, you know what? I'll just wear contacts. Oh, wait. No, sorry, that's different. Since the fall of the Lazax Empire, the galaxy has been plagued by thousands of years of chaos, war, and isolation. Now, finally, the once great civilizations have restored some semblance of their former glory and have cast covetous eyes on the wider galaxy once more. Each of the major galactic powers has sent representatives to the ancient imperial capital of Medikal Rex. There, they have jointly reconvened the Galactic Council, publicly pledging to work together even as they privately scheme to claim the imperial throne for themselves. But even as they plot to conquer the galaxy, threats both new and old stir at the edges of known space. You are one of the Kelleries, an agent of the Council tasked to eliminate those threats. You are empowered with the Council's authority, but burdened with their factionalism and infighting. Underappreciated, unsupported, and all too often expendable, you and your cohort may be the only thing standing between the galaxy and destruction. This supplement for the Genesis role-playing game includes a detailed guide to the galaxy of Twilight Imperium and its most important worlds, overviews of each of the galactic powers that vie for the Imperial throne, character creation options for playing 15 iconic species, and 9 unique careers, including the Covert Infiltrator, Orbital Drop Soldier, and Wayfarer. New weapons, gear, vehicles, starships, ancient relics, and other items essential for adventuring from the heart of civilized worlds to the furthest reaches of the galactic rim. There are expanded rules for individual agendas that can inspire you to work with your teammates to accomplish difficult goals or tempt you to betray your oath to the Caleres and even your fellow agents. There's a host of dangerous adversaries and powerful allies. Make deals with con merchants. Duel in the void with the psychic starfighter aces of the Nalu. Or engage in desperate battles with L1Z1X Legionnaires and the horrific abominations of the Volraith. The 280-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99, or you can grab the PDF right now over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. Sweet! I gotta say, it's nice to see Edge Studio finally releasing things because they hadn't really done anything of late. And then well, I'm not sure if they're in stores yet or not, but I know all of the Star Wars role-playing games had been out of print. There's new print runs out there. So we've got that. And I know the Genesis system people like a lot, although they're not too keen on having to go get, unique dice. But as far as I understand, I think there's an app out there, a free app to provide you with the Genesis dice. And I mean, come on. It's a set of dice. Not that big a deal, even if they're $20. Although it is Asmo Day, it might be more than $20. John Mascola says, oh, I might like this. Flaming Heron says, it's nice to see the Genesis role-playing game is getting more supplements. Yeah, it's been, like I said, very quiet from Edge Studio. So very nice. Looks rather impressive, I must say. Although, to be very honest, I have never played Twilight Imperium. I almost did once. I was at somebody's house. They had Twilight Imperium. It was part of their collection. And they were hemming and hawing about should we play, because there were a few of us. And they finally decided no, because it took so long to set up. And, of course, the play. So they were like, nah, forget it. It's kind of like Arkham Horror, same kind of deal, where it's like, oh, Takes a couple hours to set Arkham Horror up. It's like, what is it? The lighter weight game. Elder Sign, isn't it Elder Sign? I'm pretty sure it's Elder Sign. That takes a good amount of time to set up too. Because I played that not too long ago, probably about 3 months ago, over at Elliot's house. And I got over there and he had a bunch of it set up, and it still took about an hour to set up the rest. I was like, jeez. So John says Twilight Imperium is a long game to set up and play. Yeah, that's why we didn't. I think we ended up, if I remember right, I think we ended up playing Diplomacy. The old Avalon Hill Diplomacy. So everybody knew how to play it. So it was pretty easy to jump right on in. And no, nobody flipped the table. Nobody got upset. All right, so there you have it. That is the tabletop gaming news for the day. Of course, I was talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit DriveThruRPG or Dungeon Masters Guild or Storyteller's Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, of course, please give it a thumbs up. But if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, by all means, please stop by paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. Or should I have said make? I don't know. Making, what have you. And thankfully, there are a lot of people out there who use the banner ads and or visit paypal.me. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very, very much. Our friend Chen from Taiwan is joining us. Good to see you, Chen. So, I had a whole week off. Actually, more than a week, really. Nearly 2 weeks, if you think about it. So, I actually got to play some games. That was cool. Did not get to play too many new games, though, unfortunately. I did play Dog Park. I did finally get a chance to play that, so I'll have a review of Dog Park in the near future. But for the most part, it was kind of like, hey, I want to play Undaunted, or I want to play 1960. And it was like, yeah, okay. Flaming Heron says they've had people flip the board over for a game of Risk. That's taking that way too serious. Way too serious. I'm not a huge Risk fan. I really never have been much of a Risk fan. I guess I'm risk adverse. I don't know. So I think I actually have like a very old edition of Risk. Well, I don't know, maybe if I want to say very old, I think it's from the 80s. But it's actually in a wooden box. So it's up there. It's collecting dust, but it's up there behind me. So there you have that. So yeah, so I had a good time, and I got some videos out there for you, including the review of Rivers of London, the role-playing game, which I released yesterday. And video's doing pretty well. And if you were hanging out watching the page through, the live first look, with some of this just ungodly artwork, you'd have thought, oh, this isn't going to go over too well. I can only imagine what that review score is going to be. But you know what? It's excellent. Yes, the artwork is still, not all of it, but some of it's like, what were you thinking? But the game itself, wow, big kudos to Chaosium Inc. because in tone and design style, very different than anything I've seen before from Chaosium Inc. And I talk about it in the review that some people are saying that, oh, hey, it's, it's like it's for newbies to the hobby. It is not. It is friendly to newcomers to role-playing games, but it's not something where you're reading it and it's like, oh, man, I feel so insulted, because there have been some role-playing games that I have reviewed or read through, and they were for, oh, yeah, it's an introduction to role-playing, and it was like, wow, jeez. What's next? You're going to teach me how to tie my shoe? That's why I wear loafers, so I don't have to tie shoes. I'm kidding. I wear sneakers. So, had that review. I also reviewed Zobak Clockwork City. Very nice. Very nice. It's Cobalt Press. We knew it was going to be good. The finale of the Gatewalkers Adventure Path for Pathfinder from Paizo, that got a review as well. I have a couple of reviews coming very shortly for the first two adventures for Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth, which was another review that I shared. So I was busy. I was pretty busy. I wasn't, slacking off. So, Indarius is asking, am I excited for Werewolf the Apocalypse's 5th edition? To be very honest, I couldn't care less. I don't really care. I've never been a World of Darkness person. I mean, yeah, Vampire the Masquerade, the first edition when it came out, I gotta say, that was a very, very well-designed game. And it was truly, talking about games that were aimed at newcomers to the hobby, that was certainly it. And I know a lot of people had a beef with White Wolf because they had so much stuff that came out. It was forcing everything else off the shelves because they just had so many splat books. That's why some people talk about how Vampire the Masquerade nearly killed the role-playing game hobby, which I never really bought into, but still, I see where people were coming from. But all the offshoots, all the World of Darkness offshoots, the Werewolf, the Hunter, the Reckoning, all of those. Changeling, isn't Changeling another World of Darkness? Just not my bag. Just not my bag. And I'll admit, I reviewed the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade. It certainly was not going to be a game that I would run or play. Just I didn't like the mindset of it. Didn't like the fact that the player characters are monsters. I think I've mentioned this before, where there's no getting around it, and at least that's how it was presented in that core rule book that came out from, I'm trying to remember, because it wasn't Renegade Game Studios. It was it Ulysses Spiel that had it? No. Was it? I don't forget. I don't forget. I forget. I don't remember. Geez, you think I haven't talked in a week and a half? Fleming Huron says, wasn't overly impressed with Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, so I don't hold great hopes for Werewolf. Nero's Fiddle says, Onyx Path. No, actually, Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition was not Onyx Path Publishing, because Vampire is owned by Paradox Entertainment, the computer game company. So if you play Europa Universalis 4 or Hearts of Iron or Victoria 3, Yeah, I like their games. Crusader Kings 2. Then you know who Paradox is, but it wasn't Onyx Path. It was somebody else. Was it Modifius? Because Modifius had it for a little bit. So, but see, that's the other thing with World of Darkness is it's so fractured with various different publishers, or at least 3 I know of, because supposedly White Wolf still exists. Now I know the founder, I guess we'll say, passed away a few years ago, but I thought they're still around. So Fleming Huron says, damn all the free advertising, send Jeff a copy of a game. I don't need any copies because I've got them. I do. I don't play them as much as I used to, though. So Game Master's Hobby is with us. I believe it might be a first-time visit here. Says, glad they could join the stream. Well, I'm glad you could join the stream as well. For someone interested in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, would I recommend getting the core rules now or wait for the upcoming new rule book? Well, that is actually a pretty good question, but I refuse to answer. I'll answer that in just one sec. So, Interior says 5e was White Wolf, then they screwed up, got taken from them. It was given to another company, which I believe was Modifius. And then, after that, it went to Renegade. So Renegade made a deal with Paradox. I could have swore there was one other publisher mixed in there too. So it's, like I said, very, very strange. It may not have even really been Modifius, but Modifius was selling the book. I know that for a fact. Once again, weird. But I just wasn't... I don't like running role-playing games where the characters are evil. Now, I don't mind them being anti-heroes. I don't mind them being, delving into a lot of shades of gray. That's fine with me. But no, I'm not into, we're monsters. It's like, no. No matter how hard you try to fight it, you're still a monstrous villain. No, thank you. Okay, so back to Game Master's Hobbies question. What I would probably recommend, if you do not already have it, is you could still pick up the Pathfinder Beginner Box if you are interested in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Now, something that I will address that I don't think a lot of people do is the mechanics of the Beginner Box and the core rule book are a little different. So the Beginner Box is really to introduce you to Pathfinder 2nd Edition. The adventure is okay. I mean, it's halfway decent for being an introductory adventure. It is no Lost Mines of Findelver, which I think is a pretty good adventure for 5e. So is Dragonspire Peak. And I must think they're fairly good because I don't throw out a lot of praise for Wizards of the Coast. It's not my fault. I'm not the one producing the stuff. They release better products, I'll give them better review scores. What can I tell you? So that's what I would consider doing. Number one, because it will introduce you mainly to the 3-action economy of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It will at least introduce you to like the 4 core classes, magic, so on and so forth. And it's loaded with goodies. So it's got a set of dice. And it's kind of funny because the set of dice is actually color-coded to the character sheet to help the players as well. So I thought that was a nice little touch. It's got a bunch of pawns and stands. So there are actually enough stands in there that you would, if you go and buy a pawn set from Paizo Inc., you have your stands. Because most of the sets do not come with stands. Now, the Kingmaker pawn box did. 99% sure it did. Speaking of Kingmaker, that's another review that is on the very near horizon. So stay tuned. That is a long book. It's over 600 pages. So it's taken me some time. So hopefully GH, hopefully that gives you a better feel. If you, like I said, if you don't have any Pathfinder 2nd Edition stuff, get the beginner box because it's actually a really good value anyway. But I would probably say hold off on the 2nd Edition core book, even though they just had a new print run come out, which that's why I didn't really understand the announcement of this new. Isn't it going to be like a 3-volume set? So it's going to be more along the lines of your 3 core books from Dungeons and Dragons, as opposed to one massive. Once again, that's also, I think, over 600 pages with that core rule book. I got to also mention that a lot of people with that core rule book, the physical core rule book, have had problems with it, that not holding up. And that's kind of what happens when you have these huge, role-playing game tomes. So, Flaming Heron says, nothing stopping you picking up the PDF. You can see they have bundles on Humble Bundle. Yeah, those are practically giveaways. It's usually when they do a Paizo bundle, they'll have like the core rule book for $1, and then you get other PDFs as well. Sometimes it's a beginner box and the core rule book. Once again, PDFs. So you're not getting those stands, the pawns, and things like that. In fact, oh, no, I moved it. I used to actually have the Pathfinder beginner box like right behind me. So, Disavowed 92 is asking, what's the ETA on the new Pathfinder 2e rulebook? I saw like a news piece from Paizo about it. Don't remember if it had a date or not. I would think if it's coming out this year, it would be a Gen Con release. That would be my guess. So, Game Master's Hobby says they believe it's coming out in November. Well, there you go for the holidays then. But yeah, once again, the little bit of information that I got, I don't recall there being any like cover shots or anything like that. Oh, there you go. John says November of 2024. Okay. So if that is the release date, I'd pick up the 2nd edition core book. I would. If you're interested in running Pathfinder 2nd edition, I'd get it. I'd pick it up. Because you're looking at over a year away. And who knows? There might be some delays. So it might actually leak into 2025. So I like Pathfinder 2nd edition. It's not necessarily the system I would run for my group because it's just too crunchy for them. And I don't like combat and stuff like that bogging down. Now, those out there who are very familiar with the Pathfinder 2nd edition rules and the various systems and the feats and the spells and all those things for their characters, yeah, then I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll run it. But not with my gang. Actually, I'm probably going to be running Okay, so here's the odd hybrid that I'm working on. It is going to be some Kobold Press stuff set in their Midgard world because I really like it, using Castles and Crusades. So, and I should also point out, I still do not know if I am going to change the schedule for the stream yet. I will probably know later this week. So as of right now, it's still Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but the discussion has been had about playing games on Mondays, and it all depends on what some of the friends of my nephew have as far as their schedule availability. So we'll find out. Hopefully, maybe I'll know Wednesday, but probably not. So John says, oh, correction, 2023 with previews at Gen Con. Yeah, so I got to be honest, if you can get a good deal on it, I'd get it. I'd pick it up. It's just there's just so much in it. It is really, if you haven't checked out my review, check out my review. So Joseph Quam is with us. Hi, Joseph. Good to see you. Midgard setting with I must say Call of Cthulhu. I started to say Call of Cthulhu because I saw the CNC and a lot of people had COC for Call of Cthulhu. And of course, I've run Call of Cthulhu for over 40 years. Although it's been a couple of years since I ran any adventures. So, yes. So maybe I shouldn't say it's been over 40 years. I'm lying now. I'm a liar. I'm a dirty liar. I always say C of C. And segueing back over to that Rivers of London review, there are some tweaks to the game mechanically because it's built off of Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. And I got to say, when we see an 8th edition of Call of Cthulhu, I would like to see these tweaks that have been made for Rivers of London make it into Call of Cthulhu. So check out the review. You might be kind of surprised. So yes, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I am thinking of doing some Zobek, Clockwork City, and Empire of the Ghouls, because I really liked Empire of the Ghouls. So, but once again, I have to sit there and I think to myself, well, how reliable are my nephew's friends going to be? I already tried getting my best friend Elliot, but he's like, no, I can't do Mondays. Even if it's every other Monday, he's like, yeah, I can't do it. All righty, so we have been babbling on for a while. And I know there are people out there watching live who are like, hey, come on, man, get on with it. I want to see the Lord of the Rings. So we will be doing that in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time. Time to pause and refresh at the snack bar. During this short break, you can treat your taste to good food and sparkling cold beverages, including delicious Coca-Cola. If you're hot dog hungry, we have them. Sizzling, juicy hot dogs served in warm, oven-fresh buns, plus a complete menu of all your favorites. Visit the Refreshment Center now. Enjoy delicious food and ice-cold Coca-Cola.
What is it?
Say,
What is it?
hey, Wyatt Buttercup, popcorn and sweet cream butter, too hot popcorn. Mix it up, wrap it up, Buttercup is born.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
It's so munchy,
Crisp and crunchy.
you'll enjoy each bite. Eat butter-drenched Buttercup, popcorn at its best.
Served in a king-size cup.
It beats all the rest.
One of us has to go, me or this Wilkins coffee.
Let's leave it to the hand of fate. He must drink Wilkins, too.
Slinky toys are fun toys. What walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes a slinkety sound? A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky. It gives a big lift when wrapped as a gift. A very likable toy. It's falling in place, brings smiles to your face. Something kids can enjoy. It's Slinky, it's Slinky. For fun, it's a wonderful toy. It's Slinky, it's Slinky. It's fun for a girl and a boy. And Slinky mobiles with big slinky wheels and pistons that move as you go. It makes a great sound when you pull it around. The driver's an old-timey fellow. A slinky dog, a slinky train, many more wonderful toys. You tug the string, they do their thing. They're great for girls and boys. They're slinkies, really wonderful toys. They're slinkies, they're fun for girls and boys.
Slinky, Slinky Dog, Slinky Mobile, all Slinky toys sold separately by James Industries.
And now, on with the show.
I got to be honest, I had never heard that entire Slinky song. And I got to be very honest, I never saw the appeal of Slinky, even as a little kid. It was sort of like, yeah, okay. But it is a classic. Michael Borrell, or Burrell, has joined us in chat. I believe this is the first time visit for Michael, so welcome. So tonight, I am going to be diving on in taking a first look at the Lord of the Rings role-playing for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. This is available from Free League Publishing. It's written by Francesco Nepitello and Michelle Garbugio, taking a stab at those, with artwork provided by Martin Grip, Alvaro Tapia, Jan Pospisil, Nicholas Brandt, Henrik Rosenborg, Antonio De Luca, Frederica Constantini, Luca Sochil, Danielle Sorrentino, Melissa Spandry, and Giudita Betty. And I guarantee I have just butchered those names. Not all of them, but probably most of them. So let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got the Lord of the Rings role-playing for 5e. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take the shrink wrap off of this. So for some strange reason, the core book had shrink wrap, but the Shire Adventures book didn't. It's like, oh, okay. So, and Darius is curious how much they changed from the Cubicle 7 version from Adventures in Middle-earth. We're going to discuss some of that as we take a peek on through, because the One Ring 2nd edition is with Free League Publishing, as is the Lord of the Rings role-playing, so, in which, of course, used to be called Adventures in Middle-earth. Return to Middle-earth with the Lord of the Rings role-playing, a brand new adaptation. Yes, it is. Oh no, it's an adaptation. Sorry. That's why I stopped for a second. I'm like, wait a second. A brand new adaptation of the works of J.R.R. Tolkien using the rules for 5e. Based on the 2nd edition of the One Ring role-playing game by Francesco Nepitello, the Lord of the Rings role-playing contains everything you need to create adventures set in the world's most popular fantasy setting. 6 original heroic cultures from the land of Eredor, 6 new classes, a host of terrifying adversaries, and comprehensive rules for journeys, councils, wondrous artifacts, and the subtle magic of Middle-earth. All right, so let's jump on in. This is a 236-page hardcover. Is that correct? Let's take a look. Yeah, but I was going to say the paper stock is nice and thick, and as you can see, there is no sheen to it. I know There are a lot of people out there who really dislike the treatment that some pages get with role-playing games, and some are like really, really prone to a lot of glare, and that kind of bugs me. Martin 7W, I believe another first timer is with us. I just asked, pull out map there? Yes, it looks like there was one in the back, so we will take a look at that as long as it's not attached to the book. So, I did the first looks at the One Ring second edition. I did not do the reviews. So, want to point that out. I will be doing the reviews for these books, though. So, first thing I will tell you is that it appears that it's utilizing the same artwork from the second edition of the One Ring, which I can certainly understand. So, the Madman says that the One Ring from Cubicle 7 and the One Ring second edition from Free League Publishing take place in different times. That is very possible. I think you are correct with that. So we're looking at additional rules variants. So I will tell you that from my understanding, you probably will need the SRD at least to be able to play this. Because I'm not seeing, a lot of rules here. Now, one of the big deals with both editions of the One Ring, as well as Adventures in Middle-earth and the Lord of the Rings role-playing, is the journey and the fellowship. There are a lot of mechanics that are brought into play. I don't want to say, overly complex or anything like that, because the reality is the rule system for both editions of the One Ring is pretty light, because you wouldn't expect to see really, really crunchy rules for a game based on Tolkien's work, at least in my opinion. So Martin says a very Symborum look to that one art piece. Yes, because it's Martin Grip. You can recognize Martin Grip's work. I'm sure we'll see some more of it. So we've got some new cultures, I guess we're supposed to say nowadays, right? So we've got different backgrounds. Rangers of the North. So it's important to keep in mind that the fine folks over at Free League Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And I say it all the time, these days it's important that you know that. So let's take a look. Well, we'll dive in a little deeper here into one of these cultures. So we have Rangers of the North. Get ready. I'm going to start mispronouncing things. You know me, I love to mispronounce my fictional names and places. Flaming Heron points out that they have to admit the game that has the most variants that they own would be Lord of the Rings. As far as like genres, I'm going to have to take a guess. Flaming Heron's got Middle-earth role-playing. Oh, there you go. Martin 7W just mentioned MERP. The Rangers are the last descendants in the north of the Dunedain, kings among men that once came to Middle-earth over the sea out of Westernies. When they do not disguise their features, they are tall and lordly, towering above most men. They are often silent and grim of countenance, and look wise and mature beyond their years. When in the wild, the Rangers of the North wear comfortable but weather-beaten garments, favoring high leather boots and heavy cloaks of dark gray or green cloth with ample hoods that can be cast over a worn helm. So we've got cultural traits, backgrounds. So we've got counselor, far-reaching herald, hunter of orcs, keeper of lore, protector of the land, watcher on the border. Then we have callings. And then we have various different levels and proficiency bonuses. Looks like here are the special abilities. So we have leadership, fighting styles, aura of valor, starting at 6th level, aura of courage. It appears that they only have characters go to 10th level, or at least that's what the proficiencies are showing. So we've got champion. I have to say, I really do like the artwork. It's certainly no Rivers of London. I know I'm picking on Rivers of London, but I can because the game itself is so good. All right, so let's see. Well, were these dwarves? Were we getting into the dwarves here? No, maybe not. All right, so we've got crafts. Crafts are techniques that can be acquired by any adventurer from any calling, but that are the special domain of scholars. Beastcraft, handcraft, leechcraft. Oh, okay, it's like leechcraft. It's like, what? You are skilled according to ancient traditions in the healing of wounds and sickness. As an action, you can spend a craft slot to tend to a creature within 5 feet of you and make a DC 10 intelligence medicine check. You'll spend one of the healer's kits to replace the D20 roll with a 10. If you succeed, the creature regains a number of hit points equal to your check result minus 10 with a minimum of 1. Madman points out first edition was spent exploring Eredor, Wilderland, and parts of Rohan. Second edition, the focus of the game is moved further south to explore Gondor and the lands of the Steward. Just popping on through here. Looks like this is equipment. Yep. New weapons, armor. One aspect of the Lord of the Rings role-playing and prior editions of this design team is that you're not going to have tons and tons of combat, which is how, in my opinion at least, a Lord of the Rings role-playing game should be. So I know a lot of people out there kind of knocked, well, I don't want to say a lot of people. There were people out there who had knocked the One Ring because it focuses, or they felt it focused too much on like the downtime. And I kind of have to disagree. But then again, I have to point out too that with my high fantasy role-playing games, I'm not super huge in a like nonstop combat either. In fact, normally in say maybe a 3 or 4 hour session, I don't like to have more than an hour devoted to combat. And I mean, sometimes we can have something that's pretty quick because I like deadly combat. I'm a lethal combat fan. So So here we are. Here's the journey section. So I'm going to come back to this. A company, which is your group of player characters, will often end up traveling across long leagues of inhospitable and unfamiliar terrain in the course of their errands and quests. But a journey is much more than simply a means of getting to a destination. Traveling player heroes see the world outside the borders of their own lands, witness wondrous events, and face challenges that put their capabilities to the test. In short, a journey is synonymous with adventuring. Gameplay during a journey is less focused on details. Whenever possible, everyone involved should try to avoid explicitly referencing the rules and rather blend the structure into an ongoing narrative. There and back again. So there is a journey sequence. So you'll set the journey path, you make pathfinding checks, and then you end the journey. Anyway, as I was saying, I kind of 3, maybe 4 combats, depending on how in depth any of them go. But I like the role playing, and of course, I do my voices, and I tend to have a lot of things going on. I have a lot of moving parts usually in the background of the adventures. So Quantum Phase Dragon has joined us. Good to see you. Welcome back. So we've got our Fellowship Phase. Fellowship Phase is a gameplay instance driven by the player's choices, while during the adventuring phase, players react to the lore master's storytelling prompts. During a Fellowship Phase, they get to elaborate upon their player hero's stories and ambitions and to mark their adventure's progression. The lore master is invited to sit back and follow what the players have to say about their characters. So we also have a phase structure with this. Flaming Earth says, "You mean play a role-playing game, Jeff? Not focused on the rules?" Yeah, that's not necessarily the biggest rule stickler out there. So we have the Fellowship Phase: set duration, choose destination, spiritual recovery, and choose undertakings. And we have a section for the lore master, who is your dungeon master as far as Lord of the Rings role-playing goes. And the One Ring. They also refer to the game master in the One Ring as the lore master. Creating precious objects. My precious. Famous weapons and armor. Designing famous weapons and armor. Choose item type. Determine craftsmanship. Select Banes. Attribute qualities, and name the item. Okay, we'll call it the One Ring. Yeah, that sounds about right. Cursed items. Cursed precious objects. Evil men. So these are going to be our NPCs. Yes, our adversaries. So we're going to get into our bestiary. There we got our trolls. Arguing about how to cook the dwarves. Definitely really like this piece of artwork here. So we've got evil men. We've got hostile southerners. Orcs of the north. So we've got goblins as well. Here's our orcs. And we got our stat blocks for them. This is a stone troll. Ooh. These are the Nazgul. Oh, the undead. Wights, wraiths, wolves of the wild. So it appears to me, just kind of glancing through here, that as far as changes to the 5e mechanics appear to be few. It doesn't look like there's much. There's the introduction of new segments and phases for different things. Flaming Heron says, gotta say, they agree with me. They've been with some rule sticklers who have to check everything. And Flaming Heron says, I hand wave most things. Look it up later. Thankfully, I don't usually have anybody arguing rules with me because most of my players don't actually own the rules. They have a base understanding of the core concepts and the core mechanics, especially like Call of Cthulhu. So nobody ever like gets into a heated discussion with me about rules. Are we gonna get an adventure? I think this is an adventure. Might have a few. Let's take a look. The Eye of Mordor. Here we go, the world. So we get a discussion of Eredor. Now, tomorrow we're going to look at Shire Adventures, which is going to get into far more detail about the Shire. And I remember when that came out for the One Ring second edition, that there were some folks out there who were sort of like, seriously, the first adventure book that comes out is going to be with hobbits? Really? I was like, yeah, it is. I guess maybe it wasn't an adventure. I thought it was. I guess we're still in the world. No, it does not look like there is an introductory adventure, which I gotta be honest, I'm surprised. I don't recall everything when we did the page through for the One Ring second edition. Now, one thing I was going to mention is I am curious how well this is going to do for Free League Publishing, because I know I wasn't like sworn to secrecy or anything by Cubicle 7 Entertainment regarding this, and I'm sure it would be something that could have been, verified or looked up. But the sales of Adventures in Middle-earth releases were far higher than the releases for the One Ring. And interestingly enough, the releases for the One Ring would come out before the Adventures in Middle-earth. And usually it was about a year, 8 months to a year between seeing it for the One Ring and then seeing it for Adventures in Middle-earth. But the Adventures in Middle-earth series sold really well for Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Oh, there we go. We got Tom Bombadil. I gotta say, a good friend of mine out in Arizona that I knew when I lived out in Arizona, they were ticked off that Tom Bombadil was not in the Lord of the Rings films. I was like, okay. They were also mad that they didn't have the songs. I was like, what? I was like, from the second reading on of the Lord of the Rings, it's like I skip past all the poetry and all the songs and stuff. It's like I read it once, that was good enough. Okay, so it looks like, here we go. We've got an adventure in the appendix. So we've got various different patrons. I don't know. That's supposed to be Bilbo. I'm not getting that Bilbo Baggins vibe. Maybe it's because he's wearing like what looks to be a nightcap. So Michael says they remember Adventures in Middle-earth had a humble bundle package that had a bunch of books in it. And they got it, but they didn't have a chance to play in that system. Coco B says, didn't care for old Tom. He was fine. He was fine as a minor character. Or the songs. Yeah, all right, Coco B and I we're on the same page there. All righty then. So I will mention that I will have a contest tomorrow night when we take a look at the Shire Adventures, and we're going to look at the Lore Masters screen, which, if I remember correctly, has the Rivendell supplement, just like for the One Ring 2nd edition. And I will be giving away all 3 of those in PDF, but you got to watch live. Dun, dun, dun. Michael said that Bilbo looked more like the Hobbit cartoon, the Rankin and Bass Hobbit cartoon, as opposed to live action movie. I'm just saying that didn't strike me as being Bilbo. All right, so how is this attached? You know what? I am not liking how that is. Yeah, see, it pulled off some of the ink. Now, granted, it's not glue, it's that kind of rubbery stuff, but still, that's what I was afraid of. Oh, well. Hey, it's a review copy. What can I tell you? So, Flaming Heroes is nice one. No excuses for not tuning in now. And it's not going to be, thumbs up, comment on the video, although I always appreciate everybody giving the video a thumbs up and commenting, because that helps with the engagement. Nope. It'll actually be, I'll ask you a question. You'll need to answer it in chat. It's not a pass or fail. I will randomly select someone who answers to win the set of 3 PDFs. I guess maybe it's 4 PDFs because of the Game Master screen and Rivendell. So here's the map. I like this a lot. And the paper stock is nice and thick. It's about the same thickness as the pages in the book. Very cool. I like that. So once again, remember, I did not do the review for the 2nd edition of the One Ring. So I will be reviewing the Lord of the Rings role-playing releases. So just so you know, I keep talking about like the thickness. Well, I didn't say keep talking about. I mentioned the thickness of the paper. This is 236 pages. Now let's see. This is Cobalt, and I'm not trying to call Cobalt Press out on the carpet or anything, because their product quality is always really good. This is 200 and, well, actually, it's 302 if I remember correctly, right? Look at the difference. Or maybe you'll be able to tell a little bit better if I separate them. This has 70 fewer pages, nearly 70 fewer pages. So you can see that thickness of that paper is really, really nice. So this will hold up at the game table. So that is the Lord of the Rings role-playing for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. See, I can say that. I can say 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons as many times as I want. They can't at Free League Publishing. They can only say 5e. Or the world's oldest role-playing game, or the world's most popular role-playing game. So, In Like Flynn RPG and more is with us in chat. So, welcome aboard. I believe this is a first-time visit for In Like Flynn. So, good to have you visiting with us. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera. Very nice. Very cool. So, once again, tune in tomorrow when I share Shire Adventures and the Game Master screen. Let me take a look. Yep, it does. It has the Rivendell Compendium with it, just like the One Ring 2nd edition. And if you tune in tomorrow, you'll have an opportunity to win all 3 of these releases in PDF. One lucky viewer will be able to check that out. I know Flaming Heron said, so a Fatty Bulger question, right? Yes. Yes. Reiner Knizia and his 5 hobbits who are part of the Fellowship. Okay. Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin, and don't forget Fatty, because I got to have 5 players in this game. So Fleming Aaron said, yes, the Lore Master screen. All right, so that is it for this time out. So you already know what we're doing tomorrow. And on Wednesday's show, we're going to take a look at the Shackleton Expanse for Star Trek Adventures from Modiphius Entertainment. Nice to see Modiphius sending more stuff. That's always cool. And Star Trek Adventures is a really good RPG. So I think this is a campaign. I don't think this is, oh yeah, it is. It says campaign guide right on the front. And Darius says, Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin, and Farmer Maggot. Yep. That's in the 6-player edition of the game. So yeah, so that'll be on Wednesday's show. And then next week, I am pretty sure we're going to have Cyberpunk Red Week. Yes, we're going to be diving on into Cyberpunk Red releases, including the core rulebook, all throughout those 3 episodes next week. And once again, still not sure about a schedule change or not. I will know later on this week. All righty then. So that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, oh my gosh, I have seen 3 spiders already tonight. The Kingdom of the Spiders, and this one's coming down. Hang on. Let's see. You might actually get a... All right, don't stop. What, are you going to be shy? You've made it down, oh, I don't know, 4.5 feet from the ceiling, and now you stop? Because I was going to say, you're going to probably see it, because it looked like it was coming along right along here. So you make me a liar. Yes, I'm a dirty liar. I already talked about that. All right, anyway, that's it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Gaming Gang Dispatch streams live 3 nights a week here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. I'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Zobek Clockwork City 4-5E Dungeons & Dragons from our friends over at Kobold Press. If you're watching live, thank you very much. Also, should point out, Kathy Evans is saying good night. Kathy Evans is the winner of our contest. So it was the Dying Earth contest. So, Kathy, shoot me an email so I can get you your copy of Dungeon Crawl Classics Dying Earth in PDF. I forgot. I saw Kathy pop in, said hello, and then I completely zoned out. Anyway, if you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, a big tip of the cap to you. Because not only do you keep me company, you also keep each other company while I'm babbling on and mispronouncing fictional people's names and places. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. I will be back tomorrow, and here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.